episode of Off The Script number 147, part number 3. I got news on Bill Goldberg and if he will wrestle on Monday Night Raw leading up to the Royal Rumble and Wrestlemania 33. Also, WWE not hiring anyone over 205 pounds, shifting from how they sign talent from big men to small independent talent. Big news on that. Also, the Young Bucks, they choose Ring of Honor and New Japan Pro Wrestling over WWE by signing a 2-year contract. Why? I got the full scoop on that as well. Speaking of tag teams, WWE officials considering breaking up Rhino and Heath Slater. I got the reasons why. Also, Jim Ross says Lita is no longer with the company. Real reason why Triple H hasn't appeared on WWE television to begin feud with Seth Rollins is finally revealed. Chris Jericho will be forced to leave the WWE after WrestleMania 33. And WWE fires the head writer for the women's division for both Raw and SmackDown. Why? And what does this mean for both brands? All this, plus so much more, on Off The Script. Goddamn, I'm fucking sick. You motherfucker! Done, I blame you, you fucking pussy! Why don't you give me some of your carrot juice, you fucking piece of shit?
JD from New York, 206. It's time for Off The Script. Big Show and Ryback, Strowman and Roman. Get off my fucking TV and save me the misery. And all you fucking goons, just grab a cold beer. The man of the hour is finally here. JD from New York, 206. It's time for Off The Script. JD from New York, 206. It's time for Off The Script.
We're going to start off with this story, and you guys sent me this earlier in the afternoon. This is a big one, man, and I don't know what's going to happen here because I absolutely do not trust anybody on Monday Night Raw. SmackDown, I think, will be okay. SmackDown, I think, will be okay. Even though Vince McMahon oversees SmackDown still, he's a little bit more lenient with what happens on SmackDown. On Monday Night Raw, this might be the doomsday that we've all been waiting for as far as the women's division goes. Lead WWE writer Tom Casiello fired from the company. This is the man responsible for the women's revolution in WWE. He has been fired from his position. In what could be seen as a major shakeup to the WWE creative team, managing lead writer Tom Casiello was released by the WWE. According to reports from F4W Online, Casiello was the man who emphasized on the development of the women's division. He was regarded as an influential person backstage who steered the ship and was tasked with the job of leading the SmackDown Live and Raw writing teams as far as the women's revolution or women's division goes. Casiello initially worked for the company back in 2006 before leaving in 2012. He returned to the WWE in December 2015 and began spearheading the creative teams of Raw and SmackDown. He is a former soap opera writer and is regarded as one of the biggest reasons behind the recent resurgence of the women's division in WWE. The decision to kickstart the women's revolution and the subsequent changes that followed because of it, one of which was the retirement of the Divas Championship title and the introduction of the women's championships that we now both see on Raw and SmackDown, that can be attributed to Casiello. As of this writing, the reason behind his WWE exit is unknown. Nevertheless, he will be missed by the talents who've benefited from his decisions. Before I complete this story here, I want to make mention of this. I don't know who sent it to me on Twitter. It was an article different from what I'm reading here in regards to this situation with Casiello. I read, and don't quote me on this, this is coming from Dave Meltzer. Nobody knows, okay? Nobody knows as of now what the real reason is. But I seen tweets from Casiello's Twitter where people on his Twitter wall were asking him if he's seen Linda McMahon and the association that she now has with Donald Trump's campaign, and her filling a vital role as coordinator for small businesses, or whatever the fuck her title is. I believe he made a smart remark that did not sit well with WWE. Now, he didn't come out and blatantly say that he disagrees with the decision. He didn't mention any names. But the way he answered this other person who tweeted him this question, I am assuming, and I'm going to take a wild guess here, that is what got him into hot water. Why the fuck would you do that? And if that is really the case, I don't blame WWE for firing him. How are you going to make a smart remark, not only to Donald Trump, who I am sure is widely supported by the McMahon family, number two, Vince McMahon's wife, who just secured a cabinet position on Donald Trump's team? Why would you say anything negative? Why would you tweet anything negative if you work for Linda McMahon's husband? I don't get it. Now, don't quote me on this, but I did see tweets from Casiello, from this other news article, this news report that I read. I don't know if that's the reason, but if there is a reason that can be attributed to this firing, it probably is that. I mean, I don't see any other reason why this guy would be fired. I mean, the women's match that Sasha and Charlotte just had on Monday Night Raw, I think was one of the highest rated segments in months for the third hour. That Falls Count Anywhere match. So, clearly, ratings and eyes on the product and direction of where they want to go with this, I am not really too sure that has anything to do with it. I mean, why would it be? McMahon and Raw is all about the ratings, and they're pumping out ratings for the third hour that we rarely see, and they were above and beyond whatever we've been seeing for the last couple of months. So I don't think storyline or ratings or direction have anything to do with this at all. I mean, I know people are pissed off that all we're getting is Sasha and Charlotte, but I mean, if you are a Raw creative writer, you are pretty much told what you have to do. You are told about who needs to be featured, and that is it. A creative writer on WWE staff is an absolute fucking puppet. They may give ideas, but ultimately Vince McMahon, he'll look at it and he'll be like, no, I don't want it. He'll rewrite the script himself if he doesn't like it. Changes are made to the scripts that the writers give Vince as the show is airing. I don't know what the whole strategy is to write a show, but I know for a fact, without reading any article, and you can see it on television, that the way Monday Night Raw writes their programming, it is week to week. Instead of thinking out 6 months in advance, week to week is how they do it. Long-term booking and long-term planning to WWE, for some reason, doesn't fit well with them. They're totally against it. It doesn't work for them. They don't like it. They mock it. They shun it. I don't know why. Meanwhile, we got other promotions who use long-term booking effectively, and things just work out smooth. And things work out the way that they should. I mean, for the fucking love of Christ, NXT uses long-term booking, and look at what we get when we get to a takeover. Everything is booked smooth. It flows. You have a fucking direction. You have an end game. You have a beginning, you have a middle, and you have a conclusion. It's a fucking story. You can't write the story chapter to chapter to chapter, week by week by week. You know, things change. Now, I understand there are other variables that come into play. You know, maybe Vince McMahon doesn't like long-term booking. Well, what if wrestler A gets injured? Or what if wrestler A, something bad happens, he gets a fucking violation, we got to suspend him, and then plans got to change. Maybe that's the reason why WWE and Vince McMahon do week-to-week booking, but, I mean, those are rarities. Injuries happen. Injuries can happen at the drop of a dime, but you got to take the risk. For the sake of storytelling and for the sake of the fucking product, you gotta have a beginning, a middle, and an end. But as far as creative writing, I don't see why this guy would be fired. Now, who the fuck is going to be in charge of the women? You're going to put Kevin Dunn in charge of the fucking women? The guy who merely has women on the roster because they're nothing but a piece of ass to look at? Kevin Dunn? Who's going to look at me with my teeth? Oh, Sasha, come here, honey. Come here, baby. You know? You're going to have Kevin Dunn in charge of the fucking women? Give me a fucking break, bro. You're going to have Vince McMahon in charge of the women? Come on, man. These are two people who didn't give a rat's ass about women's wrestling 2 years ago. So, it's either Vince McMahon appoints someone who is going to immediately keep the same impact. Well, I don't know if there's really an impact on Monday Night Raw. Maybe on SmackDown. But they got to get somebody in there who's going to keep the same mindset for the women. You can't put somebody who really doesn't give a shit about the direction of the division to do the job of Casiello, who was fired, you know? But I don't know, man. This right now, unless Vince McMahon finds somebody to fill this guy's role, the women's division could be on a steep decline in the weeks to come. I mean, I don't know. I honestly think this has to do with what he stated indirectly. It was bare minimum. It wasn't even, if you read it, you wouldn't even fucking associate it with anything Trump or Linda McMahon. Someone asked him, did you see Linda McMahon was chosen for Donald Trump's campaign, blah, 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 blah. And I believe he said something like, oh, I seen it. I definitely seen it. As if he's like, yeah, I seen it, and I think the decision fucking blows. Maybe this guy was for Hillary Clinton. If I was to make a logical guess, it has to be because of what he tweeted. Now, I don't know if those tweets still exist. If they do, I can't look at it now as I'm recording. If those tweets do exist, please tweet me. Tweet me a fucking picture of them, something. I do believe it's something along the lines that he was unhappy with the choice by Donald Trump in association with Linda McMahon. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I'm going on that, but I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. As of this writing, like I said, the reason for his exit is unknown. WWE's move to boot him out could be one of the signs of a welcome shift in the way of storylines are executed in the biggest wrestling promotion in the world. Fans have expressed their displeasure over the mundane storylines that the company has had to offer. But, I mean, they put it on TV every week. Vince McMahon willingly puts this shit on TV every week. If he was unhappy about it, he would have changed it. So whose fault is it? This guy came to him with, okay, this is what Vince McMahon wants, and Vince McMahon put it on TV. So Vince McMahon put it on TV, and now that everybody's fucking crying about it and bitching about it like we all really should, it's not Casiello's fault, it's fucking Vince McMahon's fault. It's the fucking head of Raw's fault. It's not Casiello's fault. Casiello's doing what he is told. It's Vince McMahon's fault. I don't blame this on Casiello whatsoever as far as creative direction at all. But the name of the person who can replace Casiello is still right now under wraps. But it better be good, as Royal Rumble Wrestlemania season are just around the corner. So that is the latest on that. But I don't know, man. This could be a steep decline for WWE's women's division as we head into 2017, unless a figurehead is found soon. I don't know. But I'm going based on what I read today, and I'm actually gonna look it up. I'm actually gonna Google live here Tom Casiello Twitter, and I want to see these tweets. I doubt this guy still has it up there. Let me see. I'm on his Twitter right now. This is what he stated. This is live, people. This is live here. The elimination of my position had nothing to do with my... This is what he stated here. Okay. The elimination of my position had nothing to do with my stand on the election, my sexual orientation, or anything else invented by websites. I've been open and honest from day one about who I am and what I believe in, and Vince was respectful of that. We ultimately got to a place where we could rib each other on our differences. It was kind of cool. So again, let's shut that shit down. Have I made it abundantly clear that this is a non-story? Man, I hope so. Because signing on to thousands of mentions is a real headache. So, he, live right here, stated it's not about the election. Then I have no reason why. Maybe it's just because Vince McMahon likes firing people and he let him go. I don't know. I have no idea. He also says this. See, here's the thing you might not know about writers. We are nomadic. We lose our jobs all the time. I've lost 12 jobs in 20 years. Not because I'm not good at what I do, but it's what happens with TV writers. We write somewhere for a few years and then move on. So believe me when I say there is zero bitterness, ergo, no need to spend the next years of my life on podcasts bitching about a job that I loved. This is how this industry works, folks. It's just business. I totally get it. They totally get it. We're all on the same page. Thanks for listening to my rant, and now I need to get back to real life. There you go. That is the absolute fucking latest on Tom Casiello as he was fired by WWE. And he continued on. He continued on all day. Look at this shit. He continued on here more and more and more. What more on the story or me is there? They eliminated my position. I said, okay. They save money. I move on to the next thing. Newsworthy. I'm sure there will now be lots of stupidity floating around, so here's my only statement on this, and you can print it, and then I am not entertaining this anymore. I think the McMahons, despite all their eccentricities and quirks, are awesome. I loved working with them. You won't find one bad story about me in 6 years. Well, I did fall asleep in a production meeting once, but whatever. We all got along. I got along great with the talent. The writers are like brothers to me. It was sad, but I walked out with my head held high, and I'm seeing them for dinner next week. There's no scandal. There's no drama. I work with amazing people who produce almost 600 hours of original television every year. Think about it. That's astounding. We created a lot of great shit while I was there. Proud of my time there, and it's now time to move on to the next thing. There's your news story. I know, it's thrilling, heart-stopping even. So there you got it. That's everything from Tom Casiello right now about his termination from WWE. And just like that, I am going to move on with the next story here. And we're going to talk about Bill Goldberg wrestling on Monday Night Raw leading up to the Royal Rumble at WrestleMania 33. Should it happen? Yes. Will it happen? Probably. Because Monday Night Raw can certainly use a huge spear to the gut as far as ratings go with Bill Goldberg back on television, and I think fans would love to see it as well. Maybe a few squash matches here and there, get him primed and ready for Goldberg, have him relive his glory days right on Monday Night Raw. You can have him squash somebody. Not a well-known talent, but, get him some fucking adrenaline, man. Get the crowd pumped, the crowd would love to see that. But as far as Bill Goldberg competing in the 2017 Royal Rumble match, along with his biggest rival, Brock Lesnar, we all know that for sure. We also know that he'll appear on the first Raw of 2017, but we could actually see him have a match or two on WWE's flagship program. During his WCW days, Goldberg was known for competing in squash matches where he'd actually completely destroy a nameless opponent in less than 2 minutes. Basically, what he did to Brock Lesnar at Survivor Series is exactly what he used to do to everyone in the late 90s. It was a formula that made him one of the biggest draws during the hottest period in wrestling of professional wrestling. It seems like Goldberg is headed towards a third match with Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 33, but will he do a couple of squash matches on Raw leading up to the rematch? On a recent edition of the Wrestling Observer Radio with Dave Meltzer, Dave Meltzer said that WWE could and probably should have Goldberg compete in short squash matches on Raw leading up to the Royal Rumble and leading up to WrestleMania 33. And Meltzer quotes, and I quote, Goldberg's going to be doing a lot of practicing in the ring, but I know that's not the same as doing a match. They could have him do squash matches because when he was in WCW and he did all those squashes, it got over, and I still think that it could. The idea of a squash wouldn't be to give, and the idea of a squash wouldn't be a give and take match. It'd be someone that he'd run over in a minute. So yeah, they could definitely do that. Goldberg's first WWE run from 2003 to 2004 didn't go as well as WWE had hoped, simply because they didn't book him the way he should have been booked. In fact, they did the complete opposite of what got him over in his WCW days. They had him compete in long competitive matches, and they tried to add depth and humor to his character. Long story short, it did not work. Now, probably because they're paying him boatloads of money, they're booking Goldberg properly. But at some point, he'll have to compete in a match that lasts longer than 2 minutes. The idea of doing squash matches with Goldberg on Raw isn't the worst idea in the world, especially if WWE is planning to have him lose to Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 33. It'll give him a string of wins going into the third match with Lesnar, so he won't come off as just another 50-50 guy, because WWE already has way too many of those, and Goldberg doesn't need to be one of them, quite honestly. There's also something to the idea of doing squash matches in a semi-regular basis that will help Goldberg feel more confident and more relaxed in the ring, so that when he does have to do a long match, presumably at WrestleMania 33, which probably won't go more than 10-15 minutes max, he'll feel a lot more comfortable, which hopefully will mean that he won't run out of gas in just 2 minutes. Goldberg competing on Raw would also help the show's declining ratings, like I just mentioned, as the ex-WCW megastar is still a huge draw. As previously noted, Goldberg's next WWE television appearance will be on January 2nd, where he'll presumably cut a promo about the upcoming Royal Rumble, and who knows, maybe he'll squash someone as well. We don't know which number Goldberg will draw in the Royal Rumble, but he could enter the match late because he's really not in a position to enter early and be forced to wrestle for a half an hour. Goldberg has competed in the Royal Rumble match once before, back in 2004, where he was the final entry in the match. He was eliminated by Kurt Angle with an assist from Brock Lesnar. The very same thing could end up happening at the Alamo Dome, as Lesnar is expected to cost him the match, which will lead to have them having their third match and presumably final match at WrestleMania 33. Now, I like the idea of the squash matches. I think Goldberg wrestling on Raw would be fucking great. Advertise it ahead of time. People will watch. You'll have the old school heads tuning into Monday Night Raw. You'll generate a nice fucking rating. I understand this is not really the way WWE should be going, using... No, I wouldn't even say fucking part-time. This guy's fucking semi-retired part-time type talent. But I think it's a great idea. As far as booking the Alamo Dome and Royal Rumble, I would not say book exactly what you did when Lesnar and Goldberg were in the Royal Rumble last time together in 2004. I don't want to see that. I would hope someone else gets involved, and maybe you can make another star. Maybe someone can eliminate Lesnar. Seriously, someone can eliminate Lesnar that's not named Bill Goldberg. Have it be a Samoa Joe. Have Samoa Joe eliminate Brock Lesnar from the Royal Rumble. Have it be the fucking shock of the year. Samoa Joe, debut on the main roster, eliminates Brock Lesnar from the Raw. There's a huge fucking stare down. He eliminates Lesnar. Muscle buster. Maybe a fucking coquina clutch. Have them go at it for a little bit, right? And have the ring pile up. And then all of a sudden, Samoa Joe will eliminate Brock Lesnar. And then after that, Lesnar will fucking throw a temper tantrum. He'll fucking throw a huge fit around ringside. Goldberg will come down the aisle. Goldberg, as Lesnar's having all this fucking chaos out, he'll put someone through a fucking table. He'll fucking throw someone through the barricade. I don't know, something. Fucking chaos. Remember what he did to Michael Cole? Something like that on Monday Night Raw. And as all this is happening, Bill Goldberg makes his way. His number is drawn. He comes down the aisle. Brock Lesnar destroys Bill Goldberg. Just based on what happened in the Rumble, and then obviously what happened at Survivor Series. You're going to have fucking Brock Lesnar out for blood. Have him destroy Goldberg the same way Shawn Michaels, I believe, destroyed Kurt Angle in the Royal Rumble that year that they fought at WrestleMania. And it was done. Sealed deal, match taking place at WrestleMania. And then all of a sudden you can have Lesnar throw in Goldberg. You can have Lesnar throw Goldberg in the ring. And then Samoa Joe, looking like a fucking hungry bear in the wild, sees Goldberg fucking destroyed in the ring, thanks to what Brock Lesnar did. And then Samoa Joe picks up Goldberg and fucking tosses him over the ring. Something like that. I'm not saying do that. I'm not saying go with that exactly, but something like that. So, Joe could win, not win the Royal Rumble, but he could be the ultimate winner of the night by eliminating Lesnar and Goldberg in the same night. I don't know, but they could do something like that. And then obviously on Monday Night Raw, Goldberg could come out and he could fucking destroy the ringside area again. You know, he could get his revenge on Brock Lesnar. They could fucking brawl like The Undertaker and Brock Lesnar did that one That one Monday Night Raw where they had fucking the entire staff break everything up and they were fighting by ringside and they had the whole roster out there and then they fucking went into the back and they tried to break them up in the back. It looked like a real fucking fledged fight. Something like that. To where we get the wheels moving for a WrestleMania 33 match. I don't know. I'm just throwing ideas out at you guys, but that could ultimately, work if they want to do something like that. I don't want them to copy exactly what they did in 2004. That's all I hope for. I hope they come up with something a little bit more creative, but we'll see. Goldberg, WrestleMania, Royal Rumble, he's going to be involved. Having him on Raw do a few squash matches, I think it's a great idea, not only for Goldberg, but for the ratings, the declining ratings of Monday Night Raw. WWE is not hiring anyone over 205 pounds. Currently, they are shifting a very well-known policy. For decades, the WWE has always been about being the land of the giants due to an immense size of their wrestlers. But now they seem to be shifting away from this as they are attempting to hire smaller wrestlers to keep up with the demand of WWE fans asking for better wrestling. Yes, the demand for better wrestling continues, and WWE has always been able to deliver good wrestling, but not to the state that fans are demanding today. You damn vanilla midgets. Oh my God. The vanilla midgets, they're ruining the WWE, man. You got fucking people coming at me on Twitter. Oh, JD, the vanilla midgets are ruining wrestling, man. Are you kidding me? Fuck out of here. And then they want to call me a smart mark, which you guys don't. You guys even told me. I don't understand. They're calling you smart, and they're calling you a mark for the business. I don't see what's so bad about that. Yeah, I am smart. And then people want to bitch and moan about my fucking direction in the way I speak and the way I come off when I give my opinion. I'm a fucking asshole. This and that. Yeah, I am smart. I'm smarter than you. I'm smart enough to know that you still watch me. And then you want to rant on Twitter, subtweeting me indirectly. I see it all, motherfucker. I see it all. This is why a man like Roman Reigns, you fucking clowns, counts as one of the big guys in today's WWE. And the attitude, and I don't know why I did that. In the attitude, that might be the medication that I'm fucking taking for this fucking head cold. Why am I sick, man? Still gonna fucking give you the best damn news and rumors, man. I don't give a fuck. I got fucking mucus coming out of my fucking nose right now. I gotta blow my nose like a motherfucker. Anyway, we'll worry about that later. In the Attitude Era, he would be just another guy, as most everyone was his size, just as the rule. Times have changed. The WWE has seen the writing on the wall for some time that bigger guys do not sell like they used to. Regardless, WWE continued to hire them off and on because they felt the look could not be taught like wrestling could. This led them to bringing in and hiring a lot of guys with no experience that come from the world of football, MMA, and even soccer. The same issue WWE had with big guys, they also had with hot women. At one point, WWE just hired models and trained them how to wrestle. Barely, and they were thrown on the main roster while the men at least had 2 years training. God, that was a fucking miserable period. Thank God we're away from that, man. Triple H seemed to think that the success of CM Punk and Daniel Bryan had no coincidence, or was no coincidence, I should say. It was no coincidence, and began pushing for WWE to hire others like them, which saw the hiring of Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, just to name a few. Eventually, guys like Kevin Owens, Finn Balor, Hideo Itami, Sami Zayn, and more were hired by WWE under Triple H's watch. The game then saw success of women's wrestling outside the WWE and brought in Sarah Del Rey, known independent wrestling great, to focus on the women. She did just that and helped start a revolution. The success of independent wrestling was growing all around the WWE, and one thing seemed constant: there were very few amazing big guys. You had some out there that were the classic big man who also happened to be good. For the most part, you needed to focus on everyone under 220 pounds. That led WWE to bring back the Cruiserweight division, this time with a 205 weight limit due to the wrestlers getting smaller. Now it looks like WWE is not even willing to look at guys who don't fit there. According to Ringside News, recent WWE tryouts were sent via email saying that they are not looking to hire anyone over 205 pounds. Obviously, this was sent to people who did not fit the bill. This goes heavily against WWE's policy, as they were always open to a great big guy So the fact that they turned down any is really surprising. The average guy WWE looked at for this was at least 220 pounds and up, not 205 pounds and under. Due to this major shift, it has gotten a lot of people talking in the industry. Will WWE have the same thought if there is a top independent star who is over that? No, they're not going to have a thought. If someone is over 220 pounds and they are a top independent guy, they are going to sign them. But their direction as far as what we will see on television, we're not going to see a fucking Ryback. We're not going to see a great Khali. We're not going to see a fucking Batista in his young days on WWE television. Those days are long fucking gone. Long gone. Will WWE have the same thought if there is a top independent guy who is over that weight limit? Right now, there isn't one that stands out, but there are some who are slightly over that size or right at it. Adam Cole and Kenny Omega are within range, as is Jay Lethal and Will Ospreay. This means a great deal of top independent talent next year that WWE is targeting also happens to fit within the class of guys they want to hire. It will be interesting to see if WWE keeps to this policy for long-term use. They have clearly been successful with the formula in hiring independent guys, as it only has driven up better wrestling content in the company. There are still uses with storylines mostly for WWE Raw, but other than this, the WWE clearly does have an opportunity to change their look. If they look like the place that is not about the big guy anymore, but about the wrestler, the old perception of WWE being full of roided, raged guys will be completely gone. I'm all for WWE signing the vanilla midgets, man. I'm all for WWE signing talent, not fucking steroid freaks, okay? But WWE can sign whoever the fuck they want. NXT, they're gonna fucking do what they gotta do in NXT. They're gonna fucking be treated like gold down in NXT. But when they get to the main roster, how many of these guys legit break through? Vince McMahon might be all proud and happy about what Triple H is doing down in NXT, but when Kevin Dunn and Vince McMahon get these prize talents who made names outside of WWE, who had nothing to do with WWE as far as career success in this industry, Kevin Dunn and Vince McMahon will look down upon that and try to fuck them over. What did they do with CM Punk? They fucked him over. What did they do with Daniel Bryan? They fucked him over. It was only the fucking fans that rallied together to get this man on television. To get him in a position that we all knew he deserved to be in. If it wasn't for the fans, we would have never seen what happened at WrestleMania 30. We would have got the Batista versus Randy Orton main event for WrestleMania 30, and that would have been a fucking colossal failure. So it's all about signing the greatest talent in the world. Fantastic. I'm all for it. The more the better. Make WWE legit. Make it about the wrestling. But what happens when you get these guys on the main roster and they develop and they reach the big stage? It's all about creative writing. It's at that point when they get to that point on the main roster in the WWE, people fucking shrug their shoulders. I don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't know about this guy. We'll book him in a feud with Mark Henry. He'll be wrestling on Superstars. And then he'll get fucking 2-minute matches on WWE Raw. Adam Cole on Raw, 2 minutes. Kenny Omega on Raw, 3 minutes. You fucking serious? That's what they do. Nobody knows what to do. But it's all about WWE shifting their policies. It's great. But you can't have half on board and then half who say, yeah, it's great, but then ultimately not care. Triple H cares. It's the other half that don't care. You know, Kevin Dunn, they don't care. So you got to get everybody on board if you want this new policy to be successful. That's just my opinion on that. The Young Bucks, or I should say, the Bucks of Youth, they chose Ring of Honor and New Japan over WWE. I'm not going to lie, I'm disappointed, but I can't fucking blame them. Good for them. They're making their money. It's all about the money, man. It's all about the money. They signed two-year contracts with Ring of Honor, and everybody's been wondering why. This is the reason. It's only a couple of weeks since it was reported that Triple H was interested in bringing in the Bucks of Youth, the top tag team in the indie scene right now. That makes it a little surprising to learn that WrestleZone reported that the Bucks of Youth have signed new contracts, but they chose to remain with Ring of Honor New Japan Professional Wrestling instead. And the reason is the contract is for 2 years. They will see them actually get paid more in 2017 and 2018. The deals for the Bucks of Youth are similar to what they had before, where they will be exclusive to New Japan and can only wrestle for Ring of Honor and PWG in the United States. The Young Bucks can still take bookings elsewhere in the world. The Young Bucks are easily the most successful tag team in the Indies and maybe the highest paid wrestlers in the entire indie scene, period, right now. Of course, the wrestling is only part of the reason why it was more financially lucrative to remain independent for the Young Bucks. ESPN did a profile on the Young Bucks recently, and Nick Jackson mentioned that the merchandising pays them a huge amount of money as well, money that they would be losing by signing with the WWE. According to Matt Jackson, the Young Bucks have produced and sold over 100 different styles of shirts, and Nick Jackson says they keep close tracking of their merchandise. They quote, on our platform, YouTube, Facebook, Vine, Twitter, when we put out a new video, Matt will get alerts right away. You just sold this shirt and this shirt and this shirt. It's cool because it's a DIY type of thing. My wife does everything in the house. She does the shipping. She boxes everything. She does everything. She gets all the product. Most of the Ring of Honor fans, they buy their tickets because we're headliners. We're probably the most popular guys on the roster, so we feel like there's a responsibility to give these people who paid their hard-earned money for these tickets a show. They're going to get a show if we are on it. It is clear that the business for the Young Bucks, with their shirts and everything, that they take very seriously. The brothers have their own website. They sell everything from shirts to signed photos to trading cards, water bottles, and more. This is something that WWE demands to control from their wrestlers. Matt Jackson said they love to control everything about their careers. The Young Bucks also take pride in what they do in the ring, while some fans hate the tag team because they seem to just love to imitate their favorite wrestlers from WWE like the Hardy Boys and the NWO. They've also developed their own personas that the fans have gravitated towards. However, the Young Bucks also display an amazing moveset that seem to love to pull out new moves to excite their growing legion of fans. Matt Jackson said they have used Ring of Honor to really push the Young Bucks brand on a larger fan base thanks to national TV contracts with Sinclair Broadcasting. You can't blame him, man. I'm disappointed. I would have loved to see the Young Bucks versus The Revival, Young Bucks versus Gargano and Ciampa, Young Bucks versus TM61, Young Bucks versus American Alpha. You know, they would have done great financially, and they would have done great in Triple H's hands. I don't know about anything on WWE. Probably too soon to be talking about that, but I would have loved to see them under the WWE umbrella. I would have loved to see them come into TakeOver at WrestleMania weekend and just fucking super kick party everybody. But you can't blame them, man. They are happy, and if there's one thing that you need as far as a business owner, as someone who is in a profession, you need to love what you do, man. They love what they do, and they're very appreciative of their fans. They want to. This is a business for them. The Young Bucks is a brand, and they want control over their brand. You can't blame them for that, man. You can't take that away from them. And right now, they're making just as much money as if they were to go to WWE. So they want the freedom. They want to do what they want. PWG, Ring of Honor, New Japan. You know, they made a career for themselves. They can go to the WWE anytime that they want. In 2019, they're going to still be sought after by the WWE. We might actually eventually see the Young Bucks in WWE, but right now they're just keen on making money. They want money, you know. They're happy with their business. They want to be in control of their brand. They're not ready to let it go yet for the fame and the fortune and the fucking Hall of Fame acclaim that WWE brings and the WrestleMania moments. They're not ready for it yet. When they're ready, you'll know. So I can't blame them. I don't blame them whatsoever for signing with Ring of Honor and New Japan and pretty much bypassing, again, WWE. Moving on from one tag team to the next, WWE thinking about breaking up Rhino and Heath Slater. Now, this story actually came out from Talking Smack. It's not clear when WWE officials decided to run with Randy Orton and the Wyatt family beyond the initial formation and inevitable double cross. but they've clearly delayed any of those plans for the time being in favor of Randy and Bray running roughshod over the entire tag team division on Tuesday nights. On Monday, sources noted that once the match was booked for TLC, WWE officials had no intention of making Slater and Rhino viable opponents for Orton and Wyatt, and nor should they be. The company clearly saw this as a mismatch, and the glorified squash match that lasted 6 minutes in what turned out to be the shortest contest on that card that night. Sources indicated that Slater and Rhino would probably get a television rematch, but they removed the title from contention swiftly after coming up short. The process was sped up as the rematch took place on this past Tuesday's episode of SmackDown, just 2 days after the pay-per-view, and as reported, Wyatt and Orton retained. Not only do Slater and Rhino appear out of the title picture, they may even be out of the tag team division altogether. The Daily Wrestling News highlighted their segment on Talking Smack this week that saw the two playing the blame game on one another and Rhino eventually walking off the set. This breakup angle may have made more sense had Rhino achieved his political goal, but the former ECW legend lost his bid last month for a House seat in the Michigan election. That certainly freed up his schedule to continue a run with WWE, but his role beyond wrestling and teaming with Slater is unknown if the team is dissolved. Rhino is the one superstar who the WWE brought in to help with roster size that they've actually found a significant spot for since the brand split. As noted, Slater went undrafted back in July, but found the storyline that worked as he pursued both work on Raw and SmackDown, eventually finding a home on SmackDown. It's no secret that the WWE has been grooming American Alpha to become the babyface leaders of the tag team division on SmackDown Live. It's finally expected that they will be the challengers for the Wyatt family when the belts are put on the line again. By splitting up Rhino and Slater, it also opens the doors for opportunity for lower-level SmackDown tag teams like the Hype Bros, the Ascension, Breezango, and the Vaudevillains. So, Ryder right now and Raleigh may benefit the most as the only babyface team of that group. And the WWE officials want to see what they do have, indeed, with Mojo Rawley. So, that is the latest on Slater and Rhino. I would not break them up. I really wouldn't. I mean, I would keep them together for the sake of the division. I mean, if Rhino is split from Slater, there's really nothing that he will do. He's not going to be challenging for world titles. He's going to be irrelevant. He's going to be a job guy, because that's what his job was before they paired him with Heath Slater. Slater was the same thing. He was going to be a job guy. They found prominent roles, something that nobody thought was going to work, worked. Keep them together. I think there's another story in them fighting and overcoming their issues to get back on the same page and eventually challenge again. Now, not necessarily take the titles back, but challenge again and make it competitive this time. With both of them being on the same page without blaming each other. They just lost because they are the less superior team. I wouldn't break them up. I think WWE more than anything needs tag teams. I wouldn't break them up at all. But who the fuck am I? But right now, WWE is running this angle where they're blaming each other. So we just got to see where it goes as far as Rhino and Heath Slater. Jim Ross says Hall of Fame diva Lita is no longer with the company. One day after the news hit that WWE Hall of Famer Jerry the King Lawler was no longer going to appear. He's no longer with the company on television. Anyway, he's still with the company, but he's not on television. Jerry the King Lawler was no longer going to appear on WWE television on a regular basis. Another WWE Hall of Fame star is reportedly gone from the company. Jim Ross took to Twitter on Wednesday and said that Lita was no longer with the WWE. At Survivor Series, both Lita and Jerry Lawler were part of the pre-show on WWE Network. That was the last time either appeared in that role, and the original assumption was that both were pulled from their on-air roles. However, while Jerry Lawler is under his Legends contract, Jim Ross said that this is not the case for Lita. From the sound of his tweet, Jim Ross actually communicated with Lita and learned from her that she is no longer with the WWE. That makes it sound like, while Jerry Lawler still has his deal to appear for the company at things like the Hall of Fame, Lita is finished with the WWE for now. When Lita was first brought back to the WWE, it was as a trainer for the women of NXT. She came into NXT after the exodus of stars like Charlotte, Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch, etc., and was there for the rise of Bayley, Alexa, Nia Jax, and more. Lita said in an interview at the time with Wrestling Inc. that she loved the challenge of training the stars of tomorrow. I quote, "I don't want to just hand you a script and say, put your left leg up. Yeah, I could train you like a robot and what a robot would do, but that's not how, or that's not who is going to be the next superstar. You need to be able to process this information and make it your own. Digest it, go to sleep, wake up, use it. So I love the challenge of how I am going to get through to you to make you the next superstar." End quote. However, in July 2016, Lita changed roles in the WWE. She moved away from training the girls of NXT and received an on-air role with WWE. In July, Wrestling Inc. reported that both Lita and Jerry Lawler were named as key analysts for the network kickoff specials that aired before pay-per-view events. Survivor Series was the last for either of them. The last WWE pay-per-view was tables, ladders, and chairs, and the WWE switched things up for that show. Booker T was the only analyst left on the kickoff show. Renee Young was still the host, and they were joined by SmackDown Live Commissioner Daniel Bryan and Peter Rosenberg of ESPN. I don't know what's going on with Lita. I haven't heard anything since this report, and I'm sure we'll eventually find out when. But right now, Jerry the King Lawler, not going to be an on-air personality with WWE anymore. He's still going to be with the company as he does have a Legends deal. Lita, I have no idea, and there is no reasoning behind this at all. There's no explanation. Nobody seems to have it. But she is no longer with the company. I don't know if it's a mutual thing. I don't know if it's something that Lita wanted to do. She wanted to pursue other interests. I don't know. But the way WWE's going, they just fired one of their creative writers for the women's division. Maybe they're cleaning house and they're getting ready for the new year. I don't know. No idea. I have nothing for this at all. I have no opinion on this whatsoever. I just don't know. I don't know what it could be. You know, Lita did look a little off when I did watch her on the pre-shows, whether she was drunk or completely fucking blitzed out of her mind. I don't know. Most of the time, she didn't make any fucking sense. You know, she was slurring at the mouth. She was constantly making errors and mistakes. You look at Corey Graves when he was sitting next to her, he would look over like, what the fuck are you talking about, woman? You know? So I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but Lita, no longer with the WWE. I'm sure we will find the reason as to why very, very soon. Jericho will be forced to leave WWE after WrestleMania 33 due to commitments to Fozzy. According to a new report, Chris Jericho will be returning to Fozzy shortly after WrestleMania in April. The band will begin touring on the Summer Festival circuit. Apparently, Jericho's tour schedule with Fozzy will start at the Welcome to Rockville Festival in late April, and they've also been announced for other festivals in May. Fozzy will be recording a new album thanks to the deal with Century Media Records that was signed in October. The belief is that Jericho's run with WWE will be extended through WrestleMania season, but the tour dates and busy schedule for Fozzy will force him to take another hiatus from WWE. As of this writing, Jericho's return to WWE programming is unknown, but it's also far too early to start speculating on that. If Y2J is going to stay on WWE television through WrestleMania, his excellent run should end with a big exclamation point. However, it's being said that since Jericho's status for WrestleMania is still technically up in the air, WWE officials haven't planned anything specific for him heading into next year. It has been reported that Jericho could be winning the Royal Rumble match. He is a favorite, being that, like I mentioned, SmackDown has Elimination Chamber. It's an exclusive pay-per-view to SmackDown. Jericho could ultimately win the Royal Rumble. And if that does happen, Owens should remain the champion, and the blow-off to this entire friendship angle should happen at WrestleMania with Jericho winning the Universal Championship and then dropping it the next night on Monday Night Raw to whoever. Finn Balor. I don't know. Give him a big exclamation point. He can be the second shortest reigning Universal Champion of all time. So that could be a plan or an idea that WWE runs with there. But Jericho right now, he certainly needs to be considered an odds-on favorite for the Royal Rumble match, being that I don't see many other names, possible choices from the Raw roster. If SmackDown has the chamber, that means SmackDown's title will be, or SmackDown's challenger for the WWE title, will be contested in the chamber. If Raw is not going to be a part of that event, that means whoever's going to win the Royal Rumble is going to be challenging for the Universal Championship, and obviously the Universal Championship is a Monday Night Raw exclusive. So he could win the Royal Rumble match to finally begin the feud with Kevin Owens for the Universal title at WrestleMania. Right now, those seeds are beginning to grow on WWE television. There is a rumor going around that Roman Reigns will defeat Kevin Owens for the Universal title at Roadblock on Sunday, which means Jericho versus Owens may not be for the championship. Next week's pay-per-view is going to be a big building block for WWE programming heading into 2017, and it seems that no matter what happens in the WWE Universal title picture, Jericho is going to be involved in a big way. Other than Owens, big names such as Shinsuke Nakamura or even Finn Balor have been tossed out as potential opponents for Y2J at WrestleMania in Orlando next year. If Jericho is on his way out the door shortly after the event, it's very likely that he'll be putting over whoever he faces at WrestleMania. The most important thing for Jericho is to put the finishing touches on his run, which could cement 2016 as the best year of Jericho. That's a bold statement for him, considering he was only supposed to be around for 4 months originally. Now that we know he'll be sticking around through April, that means we will have roughly 4 months of Jericho left. The pressure is on WWE to use his time wisely. Jericho's going to remain. That's a good thing. But when Jericho leaves, what does that mean for Monday Night Raw? And there's rumors that Vince McMahon wants to hold another draft soon after WrestleMania anyway. So they might be having the idea of reshuffling the rosters to continue and replace vital pieces that will certainly be gone after WrestleMania. Chris Jericho being one of them. Goldberg going to be another. Lesnar going to be another. So WWE is going to have a lot of thinking to do. But if I was booking right now, Nakamura I would not factor into any WrestleMania plans. Balor, it's a toss-up with him. Who the fuck knows if he's going to be back? Right now, the most logical thing to do with Jericho is have him challenge Kevin Owens for the Universal Championship. I think that title and that match could certainly open eyes. I think the storyline could be built beautifully with that. Make it about the title. They've teased that they are the Universal Champion. They could easily break away. Jericho could go after the title. Jericho could win the title at WrestleMania. I love it. I think that makes the most sense. And for Jericho to win the Royal Rumble, I think people would fucking love it, man. I think people would fucking eat it up if Jericho won the Royal Rumble. But then again, giving the Rumble to another part-time guy, might not sit too well with others. So I don't know. WWE has a lot of thinking to do, but all we know right now, Jericho will be forced to leave WWE due to Fozzie's commitments this summer. And who the hell knows when he's going to be back, because when a tour happens with a band, they tour for the duration of that album. Then they go on a year break. Jericho will be back. So who knows when he's going to be back after WrestleMania 33. And finally, guys, we're going to end the podcast this week with Triple H and the real reason why he hasn't appeared on WWE television to begin feuding with Seth Rollins. The WWE Universe has been waiting patiently for Triple H versus Rollins since the summer. I am not. I'm completely over it by now, and I don't want to see it. And WWE television has been building to their feud for roughly 2 years now. However, WWE has been very cautious about how the feud is built heading into 2017. It's not a coincidence that Triple H hasn't been seen or heard of on WWE television for the past 4 months, but there is an even bigger reason why WWE officials are keeping him off TV. A few months back, the reason that we were given was that WWE officials didn't want to waste Triple H's return to WWE programming while the ratings were down. Monday Night Football had just returned, and while the United States presidential election was occurring, obviously WWE wanted to build Triple H versus Rollins for the Royal Rumble or WrestleMania next year. Why not save the payoff for an appropriate pay-per-view? Over the past months, there have been a lot of speculation about when the match will finally happen. It's been reported that WWE officials are leaning towards the Royal Rumble in San Antonio, and the game has been teasing that he'll be wrestling his next match at that event as well. A more recent report has claimed that WWE wants to book the match between Balor and Seth Rollins, a rematch from SummerSlam, at WrestleMania 33. So what does that mean for Triple H at WrestleMania? You mean to tell me Triple H is going to be left off WrestleMania? I will believe it when I see it. Because of that, it could be more logical for the powers that be to move the match between Triple H and Rollins to the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, where I would rather see it happen. However, WWE officials will need to pull the trigger on Triple H. Will need to pull the trigger on Triple H's return to WWE television sooner rather than later. In fact, that could lead to a huge swerve at Roadblock. A few months back, the reason that we were given was that WWE officials didn't want to waste Triple H's return to programming since the ratings were down. So, I understand that, and I understand Monday Night Football, and I understand the presidential election. But, I mean, how long do we have to wait? I mean, at this point, people just don't care. So that's the reason why they left Triple H off of television. Football, the presidential election, and ratings were down. I understand those reasons, but it should have happened regardless. Don't let outside factors determine how you book storylines and how you create logical storylines. It's stupid. You left him off TV, and we don't know why. We don't know why Kevin Owens is walking around with the Universal Championship. We don't. And that's a problem. The fact that we have a man who's holding your number one title for Raw, was given the title after a screwjob fashion. Triple H pedigrees Rollins, takes out Roman Reigns like nothing happened. We never got a reason. Everybody speculated, could this be Rollins' babyface turn? Could this be Reigns and Rollins teaming up, getting the Shield back together to take down the Authority? Is Triple H going to be leading a slew of NXT talent against the Shield? I don't know. Fucking, you name it, it was being tossed about with Triple H's return to television. Now, as of this past week, his name was finally mentioned. Seth Rollins wants Triple H, but now he's got Chris Jericho at Roadblock. Do we see Triple H at Roadblock? If I was to take a wild guess, I would say yes. I think this match needs to happen at the Royal Rumble. I don't think WWE, at this point, I don't even fucking care. They could do whatever the fuck they want. If they want to hold it to WrestleMania, fine. But you're not going to get any intrigue from me. You're not going to get any interest from me at all. You know, they could do it, but it's not going to make any sense. It's not going to make any sense. Do it, get it over with. The faster you do it, the better it's going to be. Do it at the Royal Rumble. You need a big match on that card to sell besides the Royal Rumble. You know, you have a world title match, you have a universal title match, you got a marquee match like that, a few women's matches, and that's it. That's it. That's all you need. And I think it would be better at the Rumble than it would be at WrestleMania. At WrestleMania, it would be overdone and watered down, and it would feel forced just to get Triple H on the card. I mean, Triple H doesn't need to be on WrestleMania's card, and I discussed this already. WWE is in a position now where they weren't last year. Everybody and their fucking sister was injured. This year, everybody's going to be coming back from injury. Triple H was on that show, and he was in the fucking main event, mind you, because they had nobody else. And they needed to tie up the fucking storyline with Roman Reigns, which resulted in the worst WrestleMania main event ever. Horrible. But this year, Triple H doesn't need to be on the show in a wrestling capacity. He doesn't. They got all this talent coming back. I think they got more than enough with these two brands to give me 9 or 10 matches for WrestleMania. I don't think he needs to be on WrestleMania. I say do it at the Rumble. I think it's better suited for the Rumble in front of 80,000 fucking people. You're still going to get a huge fucking moment at the Alamo Dome. Just end it already. And give me a reason why Triple H fucked over Rollins and Reigns and gave the title to Kevin Owens. That's it. And then you can have the match and we can move on with our days. So I hope it happens at the Rumble. If not, I don't fucking care. And that's all I got to say about that. Thank you guys so much for the podcast this weekend, man. If you enjoyed it, smack that thumbs up. You guys know if you do hit the thumbs up, it turns a blue color. I don't know if you knew that. It's fucking amazing. Make sure you fucking check that thumbs up. Hit that thumbs up and like the video. Greatly supports the podcast and the channel. If you're new around here, subscribe. All you got to do to subscribe is hit that fucking button that says subscribe, and then you're going to get notifications, man. It's going to ask you if you want notifications for this channel. You're going to click yes. Click on I want all notifications for this channel, and you will be pretty much notified of every upload, hopefully, on this channel. Though I still have people telling me that YouTube is unsubbing them from my channel. Great job. And I haven't gained a goddamn fucking sub all weekend. Meanwhile, Off The Script is still doing amazing ratings-wise and view-wise. I don't know. I mean, look at Drama Alert. A fucking Keemstar gets 1 million views a video. This guy uploaded a video last night, 100,000 views, and that's it. So you know, just by that alone, looking at that, YouTube is fucked up, man. So I don't know what's going on, but I need you guys' help more now than ever. Subscribe, and make sure you turn on that notification, man. Patreon.com if you guys want to pledge to the channel and the podcast. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. Hopefully I will get your t-shirts very soon due to the holiday and the large order that I placed. I don't know when I'll be getting them, but I am getting them. They're on their way. The shipment is being processed. You guys are getting your t-shirts. Also, if you guys want to add questions to Patreon, man, I'm going to be doing something immediately following. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna put out a fucking video, I think, with questions. I don't know what. I keep forgetting to do it. I'm backlogged on questions. And I don't know why I keep forgetting. I'm fucking sick. I'm not all there. I keep forgetting to do the questions. I got a Patreon special that you guys, I want you guys to be a part of. I got questions that I want to have asked from you guys. I'm going to just answer a bunch of them next week. I keep forgetting to do it, and I don't know why I keep forgetting to do it. I'm just not all here right now. And I barely made it through this fucking recording for you guys. But I will get to your questions. I got them all, so I'll answer them the best that I can when I just bundle them up into one big fucking Q&A. Hopefully we'll do it next week. So hope you guys don't mind that. But patreon.com/JD from NY206. Follow me on Twitter at JD from NY206. Make sure you guys sign up for Wrestle Crate. Use the coupon code JD sent me for 10% off. WWE Slam Crate by Loot Crate. Use the coupon code JD from NY. Save 10% off. WWE Slam Crate by Loot Crate. Hopefully we'll be getting that very, very soon. And if you guys want to buy t-shirts, barbershopwindow.com. Use the search bar. Type in Off The Script. It'll take you right to my online shop. Get JD as Negan, Dana Brooke. Everything you need is there. $19.99. They ship worldwide. Thank you guys so much for an unbelievable weekend of Off The Script. I will be back hopefully later today with another video. Breaking news about Paige. She might have failed another drug test, which means 3 strikes and you're out. Released from the WWE. I will fill you guys in on that with an Off The Script extra coming later today, so don't miss that. Thank you guys so much for everything, and I will see you all next week right here on Off The Script. I'll talk to you later.